The subject today is nudity. I know you've probably heard it all before, or seen it all before, or want to see it all. It's sort of one of those choices. I've got at least three funny stories that I want to talk about real quick. First one, and this is way, way back. I think I was probably 6 or 7. Lived in a house with no air conditioning. For the longest time, we had no air conditioning. So on hot summer days in the middle of northern Indiana, it would get really, really hot in the house, and just as hot outside most of the time. One night, a thunderstorm bubbled up after one of these incredibly hot days, probably 90 all the way through the day, and 87 at night. Thunderstorm bubbled up in the late, late evening, and Mom said to the four of us that were still living at home, "Come on, let's go outside and take a shower." And we all looked at her like she'd grown a third head, because most of the time she talked out of both sides of her head. But anyway, so we jumped up, she grabbed a bar of soap, a bottle of shampoo, and we all went outside and took a shower on the concrete patio, buck naked in the middle of the backyard. Now, not a lot of neighbors around us. They were across the alley, they were across the street, and we were in the backyard. Big area behind the house of a field, so nobody was back there either. Chances of being seen was very, very small, but it was still forbidden and exciting, and I thought it was hilarious because I'd seen all these people naked before. Of course, no big deal. Nudity in our house was just like whatever. So that's the first funny story. I'm sure that warped all of us for life. But even Carol still talks about that every once in a while. So, we know that it really did happen. This isn't some weird fantasy in my head. Second story. When I was in the radio business, trying to figure out my way and learn how to do the whole radio shtick, decided to go do things. I went and got a massage. I went to, things that were outside of my purview. I was a fat Catholic boy in the middle of Indiana, so not a whole lot of weird things happened to me. But the radio station was great because, I could go do something and then come back that night and talk about it during stop downs and everything else. It was a lot of fun. So just north of Lafayette, maybe an hour away, were not one but two nudist colonies, and we called them that then, nudist colonies instead of naturist resorts, and went to it. I think at the time it was called Dick Dorst Naked City. Went to it in my, grandma's green car. Went to the office and asked about going in for a day pass, and it was expensive for a 18-year-old with no money. I think it was $55 or something, which is ironic because I don't think it's changed much in all this time. But I didn't really have that much money to join in. And as I was walking out and thinking, rethinking my plan to go hang out at a nudist resort for the day, once again, we got to go back and remember that I was a huge guy. I was 425 pounds at this time and I know that because I had to go to a doctor and get weighed right before this. So I walked out and there was a guy working on his car. And you know how men, women, anybody generally works on a car by leaning over into the engine compartment, and that pretty much sealed it for me. Said not going. So I drove away, made the funny story on the air that night with Kim talking about what I did not do. So that was a fun way to go. Let's fast forward now. We've had a life, we've had a wife, we've had a death, we've had a child, we've had a second wife, we've had a second death. It's a whirlwind kind of thing. So here I am 30 years later and done fixing up the house for the kids. And I said, what am I going to do? Hey, that nudist resort is still up north. So I went right in the year 2021 springtime. Thought it was a blast. I had no pretense that I was the most beautiful person in the world. I had no pretense that any of the rest of them were either. So I went in, walked around, stripped off, walked around for a little while, went to the pool for a little while, stayed for about a half a day, and didn't really care about the $55 or $65 day fee. No big deal. Went back to this resort, which has got a new name now. It's called Sunara in northern Indiana. You can look it up if you want to, or look at them if you want to. Sunara Resort. So I went there maybe 3 or 4 times before I tried to get my emigration up here to this country. And here we go to the fifth story. I don't know. What are you keeping count? 4, 5, 6? So we took Mom to a concert way over in Kitchener. And unfortunately, I don't really know my way around this place yet. So I have to trust my car to get me from point A to point B, put in the home address back in Burlington from Kitchener, and just started following the car. In 50 meters, make a left turn, that kind of crap. Nothing to it. Then all of a sudden we're driving down this, quiet country road, 2 lanes, and right on the side of the road it says Ponderosa Naturist Resort. I said, hey, that must be where naked people are. And my wonderful, at the time, 78-year-old mother-in-law says, don't play volleyball. Okay, how does she know not to play volleyball? And how does she know about the naturist resort? Both of those things. This was in early spring of 22. And I decided, what the heck? I went up and checked it out. Went in for a couple days. And after, I guess it was probably May or June of 21, I went ahead and joined. I've been hanging around up there with the at the Ponderosa, and that's all I'm going to say. I'm not going to give you address or phone number or anything else, for about 2 years now. And again, keep to myself most of the time. I'll strip naked and take a 2 to 4 mile walk around the paths and the trails and the gravel roads. Basically, there are a couple nice places to actually get into the woods, so you can see bunnies and squirrels and all of the rest of nature out there. So it's been a blast, and I've been a member for 2 years now. Anyway, nudity, love it. I think everybody else should. We are all born with one of these bodies, and we all want to look at everybody else's, so why not be more honest about it? Thanks for listening. Like, subscribe, send it to your friends. I'm going to get even more wild about what I say and what I do, and the only thing I'm going to save you from is addresses and phone numbers. Thanks so much.